Yo!
Hi.
What's going on?
Not much. Playing some little bit of arena with Mel.
Just playing 9 hours of Dark and Darker, I saw.
How many was it?
9, I think.
9. What are weekends for if not for hours of Dark and Darker?
Yeah, cool. Was arena fun? You having a good time?
Yeah, it was great. I love arena. I think arena is what I miss from the main game. Just
Sure.
some PvP.
Sure.
Some raw action.
Mm-hmm.
It's so unbalanced and so unrealistic, and like Rangers just absolutely shit on everyone. But
Yes.
you know, it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely its own little game, right? With its own power, its own like hierarchy. Yeah.
Its own balancing system. You know,
Uh-huh.
it needs.
I
guess Rangers kind of a little bit strong everywhere, but especially in arena.
Yeah. Why? Because basically you have to push, and they're just and if with gear they're just so strong. And
oh man, and they don't have to build for anything other than pure damage and max
that's right. That's
you know,
right.
like movement speed is kind of irrelevant because you're not going to be kiting so much.
Yes.
And so they just build full strength, full fizz damage, and then they just fucking hit you for 90 damage to the head or 100 damage to the head. It's just wild.
Great. Yeah. And this season, they're just letting in any gear you buy, right? It's no longer SSF kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. I know people hate it. Everyone's always been like, I want it to be SSF, but I think for the sake of build diversity, being able to buy your gear and like try new classes and build stupid shit, it's so fun. I have a bunch of my new friends who hate the grind, who I just buy them a whole kit and set them up, and they absolutely love playing arena. So it's kind of like a really good entry game, teaching them PvP because they just get absolutely rolled in the dungeon.
Yes.
At least when they play arena, they can get rolled and get back up again.
Yes.
And not lose their entire build.
Yes. You know? Yes. Huh.
So it's really fun for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I never thought of it in those terms, and all that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's funny how you get like, I mean, I don't want to speak for everybody, but some people have a tendency just to kind of like fall into like your perspective of the game, and you think you see the game in the right way, and like other people who see it differently, like it's like I'm definitely guilty.
Oh, we all do
like, it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's the same in a lot of games, but I play a game a lot called Dead by Daylight. And in that game, it's very similar where if you only play Survivor, you think Killer is just so busted and they need to nerf Killer. And then when you only play Killer, you think Survivor is so strong and they need to nerf Survivor. And it's very similar in Dark and Darker in that aspect of like, if all you do is play Wizard, you just think like certain things are way too strong, Ranger and stuff.
Rogue,
and then like if all you do is play Ranger, you're like, oh, I hate rogues. And it just like the cycle goes around.
Barbarians, you play barbarians, you hate shields. Yeah. It's funny.
Exactly. It's an endless loop and everyone's like yelling and screaming like my fucking class is so weak and all these other classes are so strong, and it's just because they never branch out.
I'm going on the Reddit. I'm going on the Discord to let everyone know how I feel about everything. Yeah.
It's so funny.
Is there something similar to class balance in Rust? I know like Rust you kind of you build different like weapons, but is there like anything analogous to like class balance in that game?
I would say not at all.
No.
I would say no, because every weapon is accessible, and like the only build diversity I guess is maybe what attachments you put on the gun. But even then it's irrelevant. It's not like Tarkov where like the attachments make a huge difference. The attachments in Rust are just kind of like they're just kind of there. They kind of quality of life. Rather than having to look down shitty iron sights, you can look through a red dot or maybe a little bit of increased accuracy that you won't really notice by having a laser sight on. Like it's not game breaking, but the min maxes will do it. You know.
Sure. And there isn't like a crazy library of them. There's only like a handful of attachments.
There's like probably 6 or 7, but like 3 or 4 of them are completely obsolete. Like the muzzle brake, the muzzle boost, they decrease your damage so much that they're not really viable. And then the silencer even as well. It's very situational because it decreases your damage so much. So most people just like a lot of people just run most guns stock standard, maybe with a sight. So and that's about it.
If like the gun diversity, well, we didn't talk about gun diversity, but like it sounds like there isn't, 1,000 ways from Sunday to like mod out your weapons in the game. What do you think contributes to like the game's longevity then? Is it has to be the base building, like the raid dynamics, like the group play, that kind of thing?
It's almost hard to pinpoint because there's so much. Like, you can be a PvPer, you can be a farmer, you can be just some guy who likes building in a village. You can, like there's so many different options of play. Like maybe you're just the electrician for your team and you just do all the wiring.
Huh.
Or maybe you build all the bases and that's just you spend your days researching the newest
Your
base
specialty.
builds and then
Yeah.
you hop on the base building servers and you practice wall stacking or whatever the technique is at the time. So I think the thing that makes it so long is Rust updates so frequently. I think it was every week until full release, and now it's every month. But it still just feels like when they do a monthly update, it's a massive update. Like everyone gets excited, and I think that's what keeps the game alive.
Yeah, I can understand that in the context of Dark and Darker because it does feel like the game has been stagnating in so many ways for so long now, and that's what a lot of people's frustrations seem to be. Is that it's the same wizard spells, it's the same rogue weapons, it's the same perks and skills. Like they've really dropped the ball, missed an opportunity to keep the game fresh by just like they barely have a handle on how to balance the existing set of systems, right? I shudder to think what the game would look like if they were introducing new spells, new perks, new skills, new weapons on even on a quarterly basis. I feel like the game would break in other ways that we
Yeah, unfortunately, I think you're right, but I don't honestly think it needs to be that way. Like, it's clear that like Face Punch adds all these items all the time. The game's constantly growing,
right?
And yet it doesn't feel like. I mean, this last one that they did broke the game a little bit. They added a blow dart, and it like blinds you for like 3 seconds.
Whoa.
But in the next month, it was gone. They reworked it.
Right
now, it's fair and balanced. It slows you down and it blurs your vision a little bit, but it's not like you fully flashbanged.
Right.
But I think they have such a strong core base. Same with what Dark and Darker is. Dark and Darker's got such a strong foundation that they could just add a couple of things and it would keep it exciting. But
yeah,
like I look through videos of me playing years ago of Dark and Darker. The game looks the same.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Nothing's changed. Nothing at all has changed. I mean, there's a couple of extra classes. It's so negligible.
Yeah.
And no one even likes them. Well, to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Like
people have issues, let's say. Sure.
Yeah, that's probably a better way of saying it. But
Charlie, you're so easy to talk to, man. I'm really glad that
I think it goes both ways.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for hopping on the call.
Yeah, of course.
So I just had this idea yesterday morning to like fire up kind of like a casual podcast inspired community conversation series. And I was just like, as we kind of like stare down this kind of summer of not everyone is interested in getting in the dungeon, I haven't felt motivated to make any dad content in a while.
No.
And I was like, You're right, instead of like smashing my head against the wall trying to figure out what I'm interested in making in that regard, I felt excited to like, hey, why don't I just call up a bunch of these people and just ask them questions about them as gamers and just make a little interview series. So thanks, man. Thanks for being a guinea pig.
That's sweet. Yeah, I was a little nervous. I think that's understandably, but yeah, I'm excited. I think it'll be fun. I think as long as it's something everyone's passionate in, and I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
And it is exciting because there is such a diverse community.
Yes. So sometime over the course of the conversation, I'm gonna ask you later on if you can recall one of the most memorable moments from gaming in the past year. And I don't want to put you on the spot there. So I'm saying this now to give you an advanced warning, right? And what I would love is like if any time over the course of our conversation, this memory comes to you, feel free to interject, pause the convo, and just be like, hey, remember when you said for me to tell you the most memorable thing? Well, our conversation just here has reminded me this is for sure it, and then just go ahead and tell me about it, okay? I'm going to ask you about that later on, but if you think of it before then...
Yeah, I'll try my best.
Feel free to chime in, okay? Cool. So here we go. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Of course.
First question is, could you tell me what is the origin of your handle, your Discord name? Everyone's got this gamer tag, this gamer handle. Where does Bulldog come from?
Yeah, I kind of wish it was more exciting, but it is more so just an obsession with the animal, really.
Right.
My parents got a Bulldog, and I always thought it was just so fun.
Sure.
It's like just that boring, really.
It's kind of a classic name, right? If you think of like a classic
Yeah.
nickname for people. Yeah.
Yeah. And I always love the depiction of the Bulldog in like classic like cartoons, like
Yeah.
even the Bulldog from like Tom and Jerry.
Yep.
I just always thought he was so cool, Spike, and yeah, I always thought it was a bit of fun.
So your family got a Bulldog, is that what you said?
Yeah, my parents bought a British Bulldog when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, one of the coolest dogs. The coolest dogs. It's just so happy, so fun,
Mm-hmm.
so energetic, but also not at all.
Yes.
It felt like, yeah, a bit of fun.
Yeah, we had dogs growing up. It's really nice when you're a kid and you got a dog. Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah.
What part of the world are you currently in? You don't have to go into specifics, but just to give people a sense of where you're at right now.
Yeah. So I'm currently in Australia, living in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in New Zealand for 21 years, I think.
It's a good chunk.
And then I just decided that I have a few friends here in Brisbane, and I decided to move over, and so my family's still back in New Zealand, so I go visit them when I can. But I'm on a solo adventure running in Brisbane.
Sure, in the jungle.
In the jungle, yeah.
And when were you born? In the 90s, the 2000s, and the 80s? And if you could go into an extra bit of detail, tell us the either the early half or the latter half of the decade, if you're comfortable.
Yeah, early 2000s.
In the early 2000s.
I don't mind. I'm 2002. I don't really mind.
Cool, yeah.
But yeah.
Awesome. And what
so I'm 23.
Yes. I mean, I guess I'm also lucky that we've got people of all ages. Not only are board members like, truly international, but also maybe you're seems like you're mature for your age, young sir, I will say. Pretty
maybe.
Chill. Yeah, I don't know. I'm impressed. What do you do for work these days?
So I work in the horticultural industry, which is just a fancy way of saying I work with plants.
Plant guy.
Plant guy, exactly. So I, in New Zealand, got my diploma in horticulture, and then did a few sort of like just a little jobs, just work experience, that kind of thing. And then moving over here, I started working sort of in a nursery dispatch position where it's just helping customers get plants, doing big orders, helping out landscapers, loading trucks, moving plants around. Yeah.
Can you list your top 1 or 2 types of games that you love to play?
Yes. Yeah. So for me, multiplayer is pretty much all I play. It's very rare that I'll ever play a game that's single player only. I love any co-op game, multiplayer game. I'm all about it. I love having as many people in as possible, and I like that little experience of a close-knit survival game. Like that's what really gets, I feel like it's where the most fun experiences with other people.
Has it always been like that? Can you remember like the first, like, did you just kind of happen to fall into like multiplayer games early on and just like fell in love, or what was the origin of that?
My first game was Team Fortress 2 Classic.
Yes.
I played that for, it felt like a long time because I was young, but
right.
When I look back on it, it's not as much as I thought it was, but it felt like I played that forever.
Yeah, it was probably like 8 months, right?
Yeah, something like that. And then Overwatch came out, and I wasn't too fussed on it. Like, it was a natural progression for a lot of people from going TF2 to Overwatch. At the time, it wasn't really for me. It was also like $60, which was a lot at the time.
Yes,
when I was young.
Sure.
And so then I got really into Counter-Strike, and I guess from there it's just natural progression. I went to Rust a little bit, stepping up the hardcore ladder.
Yeah.
And then because Dark and Darker was so popular, I played it during the playtest. I think it was playtest 2 or 3 I started playing. Yeah, and then that's what's had me hooked until now, really.
What's your favorite time of day or night to play video games?
It has to be from like 6 to 9, like that 3-hour prime time, get home from work time, because that's when everyone's around.
I was going to ask, is it a challenge in OCE to like, because I know that you're in a pocket of the world where there's a bunch of people, but not everyone's a gamer, and maybe you've got a challenge for ping if you try to join a server elsewhere in the world. So you're kind of like, if you're playing with other people in OCE, maybe that kind of does limit like the number of people that are online at certain times, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's funny because until playing Dark and Darker, I didn't realize that it was like so problematic. You know,
Ah,
like you play games like TF2 and like Counter Strike, Rust, like you just play the high pop server. You don't realize that there's a
mm,
chance that there isn't enough people going around. You know,
mm.
it hasn't since come into such a small game where I'm like, man, it kind of sucks being in this like out in the middle of nowhere kind of situation
Pocket of the world.
on a
Yeah.
weird time zone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So maybe I'm just being influenced by Spud Hunter then, who was going off about, it's just hard to find people in the servers because of the OCE region. But go ahead. Sorry to cut you off.
yeah, yes. Well, I guess I mostly stuck with the popular games.
Mm.
And so I never really noticed that it was such a big issue. And I always had people play my little co-op games, which are like normally like 2 to 4 people.
Uh-huh.
And so it was kind of chill in that way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think what the most disappointing thing is with Dark and Darker at the moment is it's not just the lack of people, but it's that when you see people, it's not a fulfilling fight. Like you don't
Mm.
come out of it being like that was really fun. You come out of it like I just chased some naked and then they ran into a red portal.
Yeah.
Or like this even when you kill them and they have nothing.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
that's the worst.
It's not exactly the vision of the game, right?
It's like fighting. It's not at all. It's like playing Call of Duty Warzone and when they added the bots, or Fortnite when they added the bots. It's like killing a bot. That's what it feels like.
It's like human,
there's no
killing
fulfillment in
human
it.
bots. Sad.
Yeah, yeah.
Sad.
Because they don't have any desire for PvP. They don't want to best you.
Uh-huh.
They don't want anything to do with it.
Uh-huh.
And so it's kind of like,
See, I've never really had a lot of experience with other games that had this kind of weird economy. Like, I never really played WoW.
oh yeah,
But I imagine that like bots in WoW are like a real thing. Like, I know that's a fact. I've never really come up against like a whole bunch of people in the game that are just grinding for currency to like sell for RMT or whatever. You know?
Mm.
Um.
I think it's funny because I think in games like WoW and RuneScape, it exists and it's a huge market, but it's almost out of sight, out of mind a little bit more because you're doing these raids, which is more PvE orientated, and like you're fighting bosses, and yes, you farm, but you don't farm fight as much. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So when people sell accounts on WoW, it's more like people are like botting
yes,
to like build XP for accounts that they then sell and people
Yeah.
buy. Right.
right. I think Dark and Darker is more like farming gold to sell,
Uh-huh.
and it actually takes away from the game experience because there's a limited amount of people, there's a limited amount of slots in the server.
Mm-hmm.
You lose PvP for every one
Mm-hmm.
person who's just taking the raid straight away, or
Mhm.
one person who's not PvPing at all.
So this goes back to what we were saying off the top. Like you were saying that it's actually a good thing that you can kind of buy equipment for Arena. You can buy a bunch of like kit for your friends. You can get in the game really quickly. But on the other hand, if people are in the lobbies kind of like farming up and not really fighting, not really playing the game, according to the kind of like the vision of the game, do you think the Dark and Darker would be better if there was no market, if it was all kind of like SSF?
I didn't think so at first, but when I played that 2 weeks, that was fun.
Uh-huh.
That was so fun. The start of the 2 weeks and everything was new and exciting and different, and I really enjoyed it. I know not many people did, but I really enjoyed the SSF.
Yeah.
I thought it felt like how the game almost should be, and it is completely different to what I was saying before. Because obviously I wouldn't be able to do the same thing of buying gear sets for my friends and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
But I think you have to pick a side. It's either
Mm-hmm.
all in or not at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people respect it one way or the other. But I think when it's kind of in the middle, we're like, oh, it's all self-found, but you can also just buy all the ore and craft it only if you have all the quests done. It's kind of like, it's just an unnecessary barrier for people that are starting out.
They're two different foundations of the game, right? Either it's all SSF and you fill your stash with things that you are lucky enough to like find and pull out of the dungeon, or it's like an economy optimizing game, and it just you have to find the best way, gold per hour or whatever it is, right? And you just have the most optimal way of doing that, and you buy whatever you need. Yeah.
The fun thing about SSF was people running scuffed kits. That's what was fun.
Yeah, hodgepodge, right?
And people in the weirdest stuff, but just because they needed to, because that's what they found. It was cool.
Hey, this open salad has got some strength, right? I'll put it on, I'll wear it. Yeah.
I liked that. It was diversity, unintentional diversity. And then that's one thing I really like about the gym system is I love the ability to gym things on.
Mm-hmm.
At max roll, I like it because I want to build weird things. I want to build projectile resistance, and you go into the market, and the only thing people list is the primary important stats: the vigor,
Mm-hmm.
the agility. People
Mm-hmm.
only really want those things, so they only get listed. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
looking to build a buff duration or a debuff duration build,
Mm-hmm.
it's more expensive than anything else. And I
Mm-hmm.
like that the gyms can like combat that. You can buy a piece of garbage and then custom build it with a bunch of weird stats that you like.
Mm-hmm. Why are you building projectile resistance for arena?
I tried it. I tried it for an arena build.
And
I got really excited and I gymmed every piece and I got 7%.
oh, no.
And I was like, yeah, that's game changing. I'm really going to notice that.
Here we go. Yeah. 7% off of the 95 damage you're taking, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
So I thought it was going to be great, but it wasn't so much. But I guess there's more like other builds that work better: physical damage reduction or
Sure.
buff duration.
Yeah.
If you're building a druid or something, buff duration can be a fun build.
Sure. Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel? You kind of touched on this earlier, but how do you feel about PvP in games in general? I know it's not for everyone. It's kind of like a line in the sand. Like some people are into it and other people aren't. How do you feel about PvP in games?
I think for me, it's what makes a game.
Mm-hmm.
PvP is what makes a game. It's different for each person, but if I'm going to play not PvP, I'll just play a single player game.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't really happen much.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned, yeah.
So I think PvP is like, it's what makes things exciting. It's what makes things different.
Yeah.
And it kind of forces you to improve.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the variability of playing against a person is really like, you can have a set number of maps. You can have a set moveset. You can have, the game can be static in so many ways. But if you have the dynamic of playing against another human, right, there's almost infinite variety there.
It's endless. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what keeps it exciting. And then you put on an extra modifier of like risk and reward, and then it just peaks it,
Sure.
Like once there's gear involved, once there's things to lose, that's when it just skyrockets the dopamine, that's when it really gets interesting.
Mm-hmm. What was the first brush you had with a game where you actually had a thing to lose? So Team Fortress 2, no. Overwatch, not really. You had rank, I guess, in Overwatch, but
yeah. My CS rank and my Overwatch rank, I never cared about. It was kind of, I think what did it for me is definitely Rust, without a doubt.
Yeah.
That's a game where like you boot it up and when you first get in there, you realize like the difference. It's just unreal. Like you're playing the game and you're like fully tensed up. And then you kill a guy and you're literally shaking after you kill him the first time. You see this like inventory of loot and you're shaking running back to the base. And that's like 100% without a doubt. Nothing beats that. That's so much fun.
How many games did you purchase in the past 12 months?
I would say roughly probably less than 15.
Less than 15.
Little co-op games, small things. I'm sort of the kind of person who has like one primary game and then a bunch of little games to play with friends, party games, co-op games, little things that are just kind of, once we're sort of raging or like angry at the main game, or say we get raided in Rust, we go and play the other fun little games. Yeah.
I hear you. Cool. So before we go on, I've got a bit of a lightning round queued up. But before we do that, I want to check in to see if you have an idea, if you can recall one of the most memorable moments from gaming in the past year, or if you need a little more time to let that cook.
Is it just the past year, or is it gaming in general?
Well, I kind of, if I said gaming in general or in your life, then that's like there's too much, or maybe that's easier. I don't know.
I have one.
Okay.
So like in general.
Okay, go for it.
All right. So it's a Rust story from when I was really early into the game.
Okay.
And me and my friend from school, we kind of had no idea what we were doing, but we were just thrown straight in the deep end of this high pop server with a bunch of people in it. And everyone around us was like super experienced. And I was playing on a laptop, I think, at the time, or maybe I think we both were playing on laptops. And so our game was barely running, like at the best of times.
Okay.
So you could say in PvP, we were not competent at all. Like we were hardly pushing 30 frames.
Uh-huh.
And at the time, we were kind of young and naive, and we didn't even know what frames were. Like, it was at that state of gaming where, like,
Right.
you don't actually know
You're just in the game.
what the difference in the specs.
Yeah.
You don't know that playing on a laptop is worse than playing on a custom built 5090 card. You know, like,
sure.
we were just young and dumb, and
right.
So we built this absolute mess of a base with no honeycombing, stuck in between a pair of rocks, and we heard a bunch of shots, and so we were like, oh, we'll just go mess around and see what we can do. We bought a bunch of materials and built this weird 2x2 base. Like, I guess you could call it a fob in a way, but it was just a tiny little shack in the forest.
I don't know what a fob is, by the way. Sorry.
A forward operating base. It's kind of what they call it in Rust. It's just like a base away
some
from home,
cover, basically. Yeah.
Kind of in the action.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of just a rough base that doesn't really do much. It's no functionality to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we built this little shack in the woods and started messing around in the area and started annoying a few people. And they had just added this shotgun trap into a game. And although we had no idea what we were doing, we started getting flame raided through our wooden walls.
On the
and
fob?
We put down the shotgun trap on the fob.
Yeah.
We put down the shotgun trap and it just went insanely crazy. Like, the most insane fight broke out on top of our tiny wooden 2x2 in the forest, and it was unreal. Like, these people were running the best gear in the game, just fully kitted and running one by one into our shotgun trap. And me and my friend were losing our mind, like screaming in the call. Like, it was unreal. And we just got to spawn in, loot from what the shotgun trap had done, and run it back to our other base. And that was like so intense, like shaking the whole way, running that loot back to our main base.
How does the trap work? Like, there's a certain space where if an opponent steps into the open space, or does it have to be on a ground tile, or how does it work?
Yeah, so it has to be, I think it has to be on a foundation or on a floor or a roof or like on a building block. And so because they flame raided in to our base, when they came in to loot our boxes, the wall was open. So when they came in to loot, they just got blasted by the shotgun trap. And I may have a video of it. I can have a look later and see if I can send you a snippet so you can get a little bit of personal context to it.
Right on. Sure.
For me, that was like the most exciting thing, and that's what hooked me on Rust. It's like us playing on our shitty little computers, killing this massive clan full of AKs.
Absolutely lucky. They're just filing in one by one,
and we didn't shoot a bullet, but we claimed that loot like we'd done it all, like that was the situation.
And so how does the dynamic of that work? Like, so you're killing them kind of one by one, you're running their stuff back to your base, they're respawning, they're trying to get back to the to the forward base. And they died to it again.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
It was the shotgun trap had just been introduced. And so even the veterans of Rust didn't have much experience of like where you could get to on it, like how far forward you could walk.
Sure. Before it just blasts you.
So before it blasts you, And so I think that's what threw them off so much. And also the fact that we had no idea what we were doing, so they expected it to be just free.
Yeah.
It was pretty clear that we were complete noobs. So I think that's what threw them off.
Awesome story. Thanks for that, man. Cool.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, are you ready for the lightning round?
Yeah, let's do it.
So for this, it basically just like, I'm going to fire off a bunch of questions and don't feel obligated to go any deeper than you need or want to in response, okay?
Okay.
Okay, cool. What's your favorite thing to drink?
Ooh, raspberry Fanta.
Ooh.
I love raspberry Fanta.
Yeah, good answer. What was the first PC that you or your family had? Can you remember?
Yeah, it's the same PC I have now. I got my friend to give me the specs for my PC because he knew what he was doing, and I was playing on a Surface Pro laptop. And so it's the same PC, and I've switched out the graphics card.
Wow.
And that is it. That's all I've done. And this has been. I'm due to get a new one soon, but this is probably
Old Faithful.
Almost 10 years old. Yeah. Maybe more than 10 years old.
Wicked. Crazy.
Yeah. It's just absolutely tanking. I don't understand how it's still alive, but it sits on the floor and it sucks up dust, and I'm pretty sure it's like a nuclear reactor. Like it collects all the dust and it burns it for fuel, and it just keeps on chugging along.
I had an old system. It had like a 1080 graphics card, and that thing, I think I got it in maybe like, I got it in like 2016. It was like almost 10 years ago, and it was still like, by the time like I was ready to upgrade my tower, it was still perfectly fine. And so like I gave it to my wife's dad, and he uses it to like burn karaoke DVDs. Like it for his purposes, like this thing is a beast, and he's like, thank you, this is like so much better than my other computer. Like, right on, man. It's funny how like these days, like as computer power gets more and more like as like the power increases, like it's almost the need for that power doesn't increase. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's cool. But here I am. I'm talking through the lightning round. This is my bad. My bad.
You're okay, bro. It's interesting.
What's the one candy or one snack that you like have to buy from the convenience store? I'm not sure if you call it a convenience store, if it's corner store or like bodega, whatever it is.
You're gonna love this. So in New Zealand, it's called a dairy. That's what they call it.
Okay.
So, and that's strictly a Kiwi thing, because if you come to Australia and you're like, "Where's the dairy at?" they'll have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah. That was like a part of a farmhouse like 100 years ago, right?
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but it's like the place you get milk from, and they also sell lollies and drinks. And I guess it's just a convenience store.
Yeah. Okay, so
in New Zealand,
if you're in the dairy, what's the one thing you have to buy? Candy or snack, whatever.
Sour Feijoas. It's a New Zealand lolly, and they are awesome. They are. I cannot go past. If I ever see them in Australia, I have to buy them. A little bit hard to come across, but they go so hard.
Right on. What is it?
Only if you like Feijoa.
What is it?
Feijoa is like, it's a fruit.
Okay.
I'll
Sour Feijoa.
It might be worth Googling. But Feijoa is like it's a fruit that's pretty popular in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
And then these sour Feijoas are like a little lolly. They just taste like Feijoa. But
got it.
To people that haven't had it before, it is maybe pretty disgusting. I don't think I've ever come across someone who lives in Australia who I've given a sour Feijoa to, and they've been like, "Wow, this is really good." I don't think anyone's liked it.
When you say lolly, does that mean like just like a hard candy, or is it like a proper lollipop kind of thing?
No, it's kind of like a chewy.
Oh, okay. Like a gummy candy.
Like a gummy with a hard surface, kind of thing.
Okay. Who knows what's going on down there?
Yeah, it's not like a gummy bear gummy, but it's kind of a gummy, but
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, with a hard surface. We're moving on. Okay, we're moving on.
Yeah.
Can you cook?
No.
Okay, and if so, do you have a specialty dish? But I guess that's the veggie soup is kind of the end of it.
I like a good lasagna.
Yeah,
I love making a lasagna.
Sure, that's
nice
cooking.
and easy.
Hey, what do you mean easy? That's like people spend their whole lives learning how to make lasagna.
Well, yeah. The one I make is kind of not that much. It's kind of like a cheats lasagna where I sort of just use spaghetti instead of the full.
Wait.
Not spaghetti, but like butterfly pasta.
Yes.
Like the little butterflies.
Okay. Yes, that's not spaghetti.
I like to do that instead.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Lasagna with spaghetti. I think there's going to be a lot of angry people in the.
People are going to hate me because I don't know what I'm talking about. But in saying that, that's what I call it. It's my little cheat lasagna, and it's butterfly pasta spaghettis.
No,
whatever you call them.
Yeah, I can see that. Little bow ties, whatever it is.
Yeah, the little bow ties. That's it.
Nice. What's the longest gaming session you've ever had?
Oh, I think probably 27 hours, maybe. 27 hours straight.
Yeah, nice
when I was a kid, I was like 19 or something.
Not even on Rust? Dang.
It was Tarkov.
Oh.
It was Tarkov. So me and my friend, when I was 19, we got hugely into Tarkov.
Mm-hmm.
And this was my first time coming to Australia on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a plane ticket and flew to his house just out of the blue. Barely even knew him.
Yeah.
Had played games with him, but never really met him. And I flew and stayed at his house. He was a few years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a gaming rig, and I think I borrowed his friends or something like that. And we had a deal that when I came over, we'd do a 24-hour game. Like we would just play games for 24 hours straight. And it seems stupid because you're flying to a country to play games when you can play games in your own respective country.
No, I totally understand.
But yeah, we had a little LAN party of just straight Tarkov.
Yeah.
He didn't quite make it all the way through, but I made it through him and a little bit more after he woke up. And it was just so much fun, dude.
Rad. That's rad. How many hours on average do you sleep a night?
Not enough at all. I wish I slept more. For me, it's a bit tough because I think maybe a little like you, I spend so much time awake. As much as I can, I like to milk every drop of being awake, and then
Mm-hmm.
I go to sleep too late, and then maybe I'll wake up, go to work, and then sleep as soon as I get home for a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
then get up and play
Mm-hmm.
games. It's sort of all over the place, but
Mm-hmm.
I would say consistently, if I were to average it out, it would probably be like 7 hours, seven
Mm-hmm.
and a half.
Oh, that's
Not
fine.
enough
Are
at
you
all.
kidding? 7 hours
No,
is not enough?
it's funny because not for me. I'm someone who needs a lot of sleep, but I don't get enough sleep.
I see.
Um, and so I'll have like one day a week where I'll crash and I'll go to bed at like and sleep for like 13 hours
Uh-huh.
and like
I love those days. I love a good
not
10
sleep
plus hour
for the
sleep.
first 4
Yeah,
days,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then I'll sleep
Yeah,
for
yeah.
13 hours on Thursday, and then
Yeah.
Friday I won't sleep at all.
Okay, that's the lightning round. Good job, you made it through. On to the last two questions I have, and then we can wrap it up.
Oh, it's fun.
There are a lot of games right now in early access. It seems like early access is kind of par for the course. It's what companies have to do to like develop and release a game these days. What are your thoughts on early access games?
I think the gaming industry has an unhealthy relationship with it.
Hmm.
I think if it were respected more as it is, it's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Rust was in early access for like, I don't know, like 8 years or something, or 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was kind of absurd, but I felt like they respected it. They updated every week. They kept it consistent,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a finishing time where they were like, this game will come out. I
Mm-hmm.
think the problem is games that abuse the system of early access.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of feels like, what's the point in even saying it at that point, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
And how do they abuse them, in your opinion? Do they kind of like shirk responsibility?
Yeah, they use it as an excuse, or at least the community around it do.
Uh-huh.
And the updates slow down, and the game stops getting content, and then eventually it dies in early access. It
Uh-huh.
never really became a game.
Uh-huh.
Like it's a bad example, but that game that Spud Hunter used to play, it had a big cheater problem, and I wish I knew what it was called. But yeah, the early access, it can be, I don't know, to a certain degree, it's just, it gets exhausting after a while. Every game you play early
Yeah.
access,
Yeah.
cool if they commit to it, and it's still young, but it's got to come out of early access eventually. You know, like
Uh-huh.
bite the bullet.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Are there any early access games you're following right now?
none.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of the big hype of Arc Raiders. I haven't even watched anything on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really look forward to games.
Hmm.
I never really have.
Hmm.
I guess. Oh, actually, I guess Subnautica 2.
Subnautica 2. Interesting.
Subnautica was the first game I played on my PC when I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is like a NASA computer, is what I thought it was, because this game looked beautiful. Like the game looked amazing for when it came out,
Right.
like 8 years ago now or something like that.
Right.
And I was fully immersed. The only single player game where I've been like, this is just how things should be. And it's sort of like a underwater semi-horror, semi-survival game.
Uh-huh.
And the one thing, ever since playing it, all I've wanted is a co-op mode. And I've looked at the mods, and I've tried the mods, and none of them seem to work like properly.
Uh-huh.
And now they're releasing Subnautica 2, and it's co-op, and I've never been more excited.
Bingo. Right on.
For a game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think what really gets to me is I play these single player games, and then I really, really like them. And I'm like, I want to play with these with my friends. I want my friends to go through it with me and enjoy it.
Uh-huh.
And so that's what puts me off playing single player games.
Yeah, I understand. It's kind of cool how like the deep sea stuff is kind of like the same creepiness as like the outer space stuff. It's basically the same.
Yeah.
Right? You got this like isolated, like space station-y kind of environment, and like no one can come and help you, and so it's a pretty good backdrop for like a creepy kind of like tense game like that.
Yeah. It's the infinite unknown void of just nothing. And it's scary. And it's like you're out there and you're on your own, and anything could show up, and you have no power. It's that kind of fear. It's crazy like that.
Okay, last question. Is there any specific kind of game that you hope comes out in the next 2 years?
I think I just like what comes out, really. I don't know if there's anything that if I were to make a game, I would make, but I think Dark and Darker had what I wanted. That almost medieval sort of PvP game that's really like loot based.
Yeah.
I guess any big, popular, high player count multiplayer loot based game would probably be my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that there's a lot of risk, a lot of things to do, and something I can play with my friends. Really,
You're really good at melee, but Rust does Rust really have like a melee system, or is it basically like all that is moot for the gunplay kind of thing?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's you definitely cannot win melee with a gun against a gun. It just doesn't really happen much. They did add a medieval update, and that was really cool because they took all the guns out of these servers. And it was just crossbows, and there was shields, catapults and shields, and that, if you haven't tried it, is really worth a try. It's awesome. It's a nice entry level to Rust, where it's like you're not just walking around a corner and getting sprayed by an AK. And it's like a nice slow time to kill. Melt really enjoyed it because it was kind of, she felt like she had a chance to like breathe before she was dead. Yeah, and that was really fun.
So you're not the kind of guy that like looks forward. You're the kind of guy that appreciates whatever game is there right now, kind of thing.
Yeah, I love games so much that like I'm always happy. I always come home and I'm like, I can't wait to play the games. I can't wait to hang out. I think more so it's hanging out with my friends and like all that. Then actually the game is kind of just the game. You know, it adds an extra bit of excitement and fun. But I think I'm always just happy to hop on and just play the games with the people, you know. That's it.
Oh, that's really nice, man. Well, you're certainly you're a very charming young person, and it's my honor and my pleasure to have you in the community here.
Oh, I love it. I'll be there. Always be there. It's awesome. I love hanging out.
No pressure, dude. things
it's
come
fun,
up.
Dude. Yeah. I like the pressure because it's a commitment. It's fun. It's, you know. Awesome. I like being around, and I like watching what's going on.
Awesome.
And it's fun seeing where everyone's going because everyone's sort of shotgun spreading out. You know, we're all fired out of this dark and darkest shotgun, and we're all just finding our own little place to settle down.
Bide some time until the next thing comes along that we all want to play together.
We all get behind. Yeah. If we do, yeah.
Well, you're a very skilled gamer. You're an excellent person. Thanks for jumping on, man. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll see you around.